welcome back to the channel, and in this week's episode we are still in Romania, and check out this entrance hall that we're shooting within. Okay, and in this week's video we're talking about aperture mistakes in architecture photography. Let's do it. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is James Kerwin, and this is me. I'm an architecture and interior photographer from the UK, and I love shooting abandoned places, relics, ruins, hidden gems and ghost towns, as well as off the beaten path locations all around the world. I'm posting new videos every Sunday, so why don't you join me for the ride by subscribing. You can also check out my website in the description below. So following on from last week's video about sharpness, if you haven't seen it, you can check it out in the link above. I'd like to talk about aperture mistakes in architecture photography that I see so many people doing when they're walking into a space for the first time and shooting it. So what I'm talking about here, by the way, is that I see so many photographers, time and time again, stopping down their aperture to f11 or f16 to shoot a space like so, where the distance between camera, sensor and building is not that great. All you're really doing there is increasing your exposure time and decreasing the quality of your image overall. And it shows a real lack of understanding about your gear, lens combination combined with focal distance, the focal plane and the distance to the subject that you're photographing. Now I'm talking about internal architecture shots here, not necessarily external, although to an extent the same applies. It's all about distance to subject within the space. So what do I mean by this? Well, you stop down your aperture in camera down to say f11, f16 when you're shooting in a wide open space with huge, vast landscapes, for example. Say you're in Iceland and you've got the huge vista in front of you. You would stop down your aperture then, maybe for creative reasons, but also to give you as much distance in focus as possible from your focus point. Why then in architecture would we sort of stop down to f11 or f16 when the distance is not that great? We'll be better off selecting the lens's sharpest aperture, usually between 7.1 and f9, depending on the lens and camera combination. And we would still have tack sharp results. We wouldn't be waiting around on location for images, like for the shutter speed to take, say, in here it's taking 10 seconds on the longer exposure. It would cut down our wait time. It would increase our quality because the lens's sharpest point is where it performs best. And of course, finally, we could then increase our distance with other in-camera tricks if we wanted to focus, say, near and far as well. We wouldn't need f11 for that. Well, it doesn't matter to the point where it's going to cause huge problems if you've got expensive camera equipment that costs thousands of pounds or euros. But even if we were shooting in say an entry-level full-frame camera with a medium cost-wise wide-angle lens, say a Sigma 12 to 24, let's say, then the quality in that lens is nowhere near as good as the high-end stuff, and of course you're going to start to notice issues with the lens, diffraction, aberration, and stuff like this, things that can decrease the quality of your photo overall. Very much following on from last week here. So I've got a scene here that I want to shoot. And I'm going to give you two examples, one at f16 and one at f8, and see if we can notice the difference once we've published them. And I'm going to shoot them both on the R5. So in the foreground we have these books lying in a pile. In the midground, in the mid section of the image, we're going to have the columns and the arches. And in the background, of course, we've got the dome itself up high, and we've got the arch over to the far side where I was previously standing. But the distance isn't so great. So what I'm basically going to do here is two photos. I'm going to do one at f16, and then I'm going to compare that with the results of focus stacking, where we focus on the foreground, the midground and the background and stitch them together in post. That should lead to much sharper results overall, and we would get better quality even out of the 15 to 35 that I'm using here. I have no doubts about it. And even if we don't, you will see that the focus distance actually covers a vast array of where we're looking to shoot if we focus in the right spot. Okay, so I'm pretty much set up and ready to go. Camera's on tripod. I've switched cameras, obviously. I have to use a light now because it's getting quite dark in here. So I've moved one of the books just because it's at the edge of the frame and it looks a bit weird. So I'm just going to refocus. That's better. It was at the edge of the frame and I'm on a wide angle, and of course it's stretching the book and making it look a bit odd. ISO 100. I'm selecting f16, and my shutter speed is going to be 5 seconds. It's slightly under zero on the exposure meter in manual. And as I shoot this, I'm going to need to turn the light off because it's displaying on the foreground. But I'm going to focus down by the books. Now what I'm going to do is another option. I'm going to focus stack in camera using f8. I'm going to focus on the foreground, on the books. I'm going to jump out of the scene and turn the light off when I do this. Then I'm going to do another shot focusing further back into the scene. With this scene, we could probably do halfway in and then the back, so 3 images. Let's turn the light off. So where did I focus? I focused on the books, one of the columns midway into the scene, and finally I focused on the ceiling, on the dome. And the reason for that is actually the greatest distance if you think about the height. So that's the 3 distances away from the camera, and we're going to combine those together, focus stack them, stitch them together in Photoshop, and that's going to give us sharper results than f16. Fingers crossed. I mean, on this camera, the difference might be minuscule, but actually, like I said, on cheaper versions, cheaper cameras, more and more of a gap appears. I'm also just going to shoot this with bracketing as well, just for myself, really. Let's do that. Okay, I'm going to show you the results. I think I'm done. I'm pretty hungry. I need to get out of here. Let's check them out. Okay, so what you can see here is shot at f16. Whenever you focus on a scene or looking at a scene like this, you should always, usually, focus a third of the way in, and everything after that would be in focus. And you can see here, if we zoom on in at the, obviously you've got a bit of YouTube compression here, but you can see it's pretty sharp overall. And this is with very high quality kit. As soon as we switch to a focus stacked version, f8, 3 stacks, so we've got front, middle and back stacked together, your final result is here. And we can quite clearly see that is much sharper image throughout. If you were printing this, for example, the quality difference would be significant. Let me know your thoughts below. Okay, if you've got a topic that you want covered, please do comment below and we'll try and talk about that particular element of architecture or interior photography. My exterior video didn't go down very well, by the way, in Italy recently. I had to re-upload it, which didn't help. That is linked above. Exteriors are a completely different challenge, of course. I might do some more videos on this subject. Maybe you've got some other ideas though. Please do write down in the description below if you have. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that video. I know I have. It's been a pleasure to be here. Please do keep making comments below. It's been amazing to hear some feedback in recent weeks. Subscribe, hit the bell notification. You'll be alerted next time I upload a video, which will be next Sunday. And until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you've enjoyed this one. It's been a cracker.